Can you please state your name and what band or record company you play for?
Sure. My name's Jamie Pressnall, and I've been in a few bands. I was in a band called Park Ave a long time ago, and then Tilly and the Wall. And Tilly and the Wall was on Team Love Records. And Park Ave actually released an album on a label called Uri9 Records. We just did one album. And then Tilly had, how many albums? I think 4 albums on Team Love.
Were you originally from Omaha?
No, I actually grew up kind of all over the West Coast, but I went to high school here in Omaha and then stayed. So I feel like I'm from here.
When you first came, what was your first impression?
Honestly, I lived out in West Omaha, and I just was kind of shocked by the suburbs. I kind of had come from more like a downtown area, so for me that was kind of a little shocking. But I've grown to love it. I love it now. I went to college actually in Lincoln, and came back and went to Creighton as well. And I met a great community and love Omaha. I have a family here now, so yeah.
Did any of that inspire your music?
Definitely. I think for me, where I grew up, there wasn't really any women making music, and certainly not really many people at all, just kind of in the arts where I lived. So when I was lucky enough to find friends that were into art, visual art, music, just all kinds of creative things that people were doing. So I was really drawn to that. And that's kind of where I found musicians and other artists.
You mentioned that it was tough and that there was no women that were making music. So you starting out, were there any obstacles that you had to overcome?
Yeah, definitely. I would say even with Tilly, we all were in a big music community. And so of course everyone in that community was super supportive, just made us feel really great, made us feel welcome, so that we were able to play music and start feeling excited to write songs. But really outside of that, there wasn't a lot of support at the time for women. So, the band Tilly and the Wall has 3 women in it, and really we had to just fight to really be heard and for people to take us seriously. And I do feel like if it was 5 men, we would have never had kind of the back push that really happened initially with our band.
Another question we had was, how do you think you impacted the Omaha scene?
So when you're asking how I feel I impacted the Omaha scene.
Women.
Sure. I don't know. I feel like really for our band, like I said, there was a lot of men and women that were really supportive. Within our community, we did kind of experience a bit of a backlash in Omaha when we first started, just people kind of thinking we were a joke because we had 3 women in our band. And for us, we just did what we loved. We stayed true to what we enjoyed doing. When we started the band, all I wanted to do was write music. All I wanted to do was working on music, practicing music, getting our music out there. So we just kind of pushed through that opposition, and I think now what's nice is I don't feel like things are changing. There's still a long way to go, but hopefully it doesn't seem so weird that there's 3 women in a band now, or that there's 2 women in a band. I think just on a personal level, I always try to be really encouraging to women and young girls that are writing music in Omaha or are musicians. There's Omaha Girls Rock, which is a wonderful organization, and they're really doing great work and really empowering young girls. My daughter actually just was old enough to take the Little Girls Rock Camp, and I have volunteered there with Arinda Fink, who you're going to interview, for about 4 years when they were first starting out. So, but I think just by doing it and just doing your art, you're going to impact other people, and in different ways. It's all very relative, but I think just by creating art, doing what you believe, it's going to affect people on different levels, and hopefully kind of have that positive ripple that will, and I don't totally understand how, but it's going to affect people in some way, hopefully.
How does the experience as a woman affect how you write songs and the process?
As a woman, how it kind of affects me writing songs. I think it's just, I mean, I don't know if it's something I could totally verbalize, but, I've always been aware of when we write songs to write it from my perspective. So when I write songs, they're usually first person. And that's everyone in the band and Tilly and the Ball does write songs. So everyone has their own. Some of them just write fictional stories. Some of them, it's kind of a combination of the two. So for me, it's just generally first person. I think I'm just a less sophisticated songwriter, at least for me. I just was like, this is just my experience. That's what I'm going to sing about. So it's very much part of the song, just as being a woman. And as a woman, there's adversity just in all different areas. So I think that just will come out in your art and what you're saying and in the voice that you have. So I think it's more just innate, but definitely part of my experience.
What was your inspiration to write music when you were growing up?
I think my inspiration to write music when I was growing up was actually just a lot of different things. I'm kind of a big believer in art in everyday life. So it could be something as small as one of the first songs I ever wrote was about a picture of a house that I took. And I just loved it and kind of just made me think about what my life would be like when I got older. And this is, of course, I was probably a teenager or in my 20 maybe. But it could be different things. It could be relationships. It could be my hopes, my dreams. But I'm a big believer just the little things around you can be a great inspiration. So all kinds of things.
Is there any particular things that you would buy or listen to when you were growing up? I definitely was really into music, of course, and was inspired by bands like Mary Lou Lord, Sleater Kinney. I loved the Supremes. Lots of I loved girl bands, but I loved a lot of bands with men as well. Lots of bands just around Omaha really inspired me, like Bright Eyes, Cursive, Jenny Lewis I love. But lots of different bands, I guess. I think I was really into pop, really into 80s music. Kind of as I got a little older, I got into indie music and sort of learned what that was. And you guys were just talking about the Cog Factory, and that was totally mind-blowing for me as just a young woman, seeing all these amazing people on stage and just totally pouring their hearts and souls into their music. And there was women, there was men, and it was just a very accepting community. That's kind of where my first show, I was in Park Ave, and I had total stage fright, and still kind of get that if we haven't played in a long time. But the very first show I ever played at was at the Cog Factory, and I was just shaking the whole time, crying. I don't even know what happened during the show, but I made it through, and I felt just oh my gosh, if I can do that, I can do anything, So I think sometimes having the opportunity to perform can really be empowering for a lot of people, and especially for women. Another question we had was what your future plans are.
My future plans, what's nice is that there's nothing specific I have in mind. As I've also been a musician, I also was able to earn my teaching certificate. So I've taught in OPS. I'm currently the director of a preschool. So I'm really enjoying that. Next year will be my 4th year as the director, and I really enjoy being part of that process. It's nice. It's a singular school, so we really get to choose our own curriculum, and we get to assess that curriculum every year, and just work with great people and talented people and just teach. And I love working with kids. So I don't know exactly where I'll be in 10 years, but probably something in education and hopefully with music. With Tilly, we are working on a new record. We're super slow, and we're all spread out all over the country now. But we have probably the next year or two we'll have a record out, and then we'll probably do a little touring. For us, touring now just is really for fun. So we might go out for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then also get those songs published. As we have a publishing company we work with, so that will be kind of something that we can use those songs for as well, and just have fun writing music. When we were actively touring, we were touring at least 9 months out of the year, just on the road. So
it's just a different lifestyle. So for me, I really like being home. I'm settled, but I would totally love to travel like here and there and do some little more touring in the future. So it's on the horizon. We'll get it together. What's nice about our band is we're very organic. We're loose. We all have other stuff. We've always all had other stuff happening. So, but we have actually really started writing songs. So maybe in a year or two. Hopefully we'll record right here in Omaha with Moga Studios, or Arc Studios, which they're wonderful and they've done like tons of great stuff. So it'll be great to kind of keep working with artists that are local.
This next topic I wanted to bring up is a heavier topic, and you don't have to answer the question if you don't feel like it.
Sure.
The question was, how do you feel indie treats the minority races?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's progress that can be made in working with people of color, working with women. I think it's really just kind of looking around you and seeing like, what am I seeing right now? Like, how can we make things better? Because you can always affect change. You can always improve things. And I think acknowledging that there is work to be done is really important. And I think that really just starts on like the individual level, and then like organizations like bringing attention to that, and things like in bands, like making like incorporating those people. If you're bringing musicians on the road, if you're hiring people, that's something that needs to be something you're considering. Are you representing other people? So yeah, very important.
Another question that's on the same level.
Sure.
Is how do you think the hashtag #MeToo movement will impact the women in the music industry?
That's a good question. So you're asking how the hashtag #MeToo movement will impact women in the music industry. I think it has impacted. On some levels, I have seen like musicians kind of feeling more empowered, and I think those are issues that have always been talked about in songs, like oppression, abuse. Those are themes that I think are like timeless themes, but I think people are really listening a little bit more. And I think really, instead of glossing over it, like, oh, that song's about that, I'm not really gonna like dive into that with any depth. But I think they're like, oh my goodness, we should really like pay attention to those songs or pay attention to what the artist is saying. I think they're just taken more seriously, and really kind of given more of a voice, and hopefully that will help to kind of change things. If that answers your question somewhat.
Is there any stories that really explain the experience you've had being in this band?
I think one of the songs on like our last record that we released, of course I don't know the title. We have like our titles and the titles we put on the albums, but the chorus is like talking about, I'm gonna live how I want, I'm gonna love who I wanna love. I think that for us kind of is a good like just way to wrap up kind of what is important to our band, which is just, do what you love. Don't let other people tell you can't do something, and like do those things with like your community and like work with the people around you. So I think that might be something that it kind of reminds me of the spirit of our band. But yeah, that's the first thing that came to mind. So.
Do you have any memorabilia or whatever it's called to show and bring up memories, or like what you use?
Oh, sure. So yeah, I do have some memorabilia. I brought, let me see here. I'm gonna pop off camera for a second. Okay. This is kind of fun. Of course, it's something that I saved from one of our fans, but kind of just like, this is one of my favorite things a fan ever gave us, which is just our band as dolls, which is super funny. But just as fun. When I see it, it just kind of makes me smile, and just like makes me think of how much fun we had when we were touring all the time, and how sweet and like unique our fans were.
Can you scoot
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, this way? Here? Yep, sure. Should I start over? Yep. So as far as memorabilia, I brought just this fun, I think something that fun that one of our fans made, or a group of our fans made for us. And it's just our band as dolls, and just like, I don't know, just reminds me of our band. Like, we just had really fun, free-spirited, unique fans, and this is just something that I don't think a lot of people would get or bring to a show. So I just loved it. It makes me smile when I see it. I thought I'd bring it. And it's like, yeah, I was looking for things and I was like, what could I bring? And this is just the first thing I found I thought was really fun. And I just brought, this is my little travel case from touring, and I've had it since Park Ave. So, oh my gosh, maybe 25 years old I've had this case. But it just has my taps. And this is really like what I would keep with me like with my tap box, my tap instrument. I'd always have this next to me. So it has like, these are from the most recent taps that are just totally trashed, but well loved, got a lot of use. And some microphones and like maracas. I do some other like little percussion things. Here's my mic. This is probably not that exciting, but it's just a tiny little contact mic. They use these for violins actually, and they work really well for taps too. But yeah, just some fun things. We were really lucky just to be able to perform kind of all over the place. But yeah, those are the fun things that I kind of still have in my basement. We do have, somebody made us a ceramic dip tray in the shape of Texas that has like, it's from people in Texas, and it has like all their names and our band lyrics in there. That's something else that I kind of had to make editing decisions, but I did almost bring in the Texas dip tray, but yeah, I just brought those in.
As far as you, your band, your career, all that kind of stuff goes, is there anything else you think we should know?
I think just, as women, you just really need to believe in yourself. And there's always going to be people that tell you can't do it, tell you that it's silly. Just like, if you really love something and you're driven, just work hard for it, and great things will come your way. And just don't let people tell you can't do things. Just believe in everything that is important to you, and just keep working for it. So that's the end, I guess.
I don't have any more questions.
I got one.
Sure.
The tap dance influence in your music, where does that come from?
It started with the tap dance influence in our music. We'll start it in Park Ave, my first band. I actually played guitar, and we didn't have a drummer at the time. And I just said, I'll just tap to keep a beat. I can tap dance. And so I started just to do that, to keep a beat. And then we were like, this is actually kind of fun. Like, I'm going to start tapping on some songs. So in that first band, I played guitar in most of the songs and tap danced on 3 to 4 of our songs. We had maybe 15 total, like in our entire library of music. So I tap danced on a few songs. And then with Tilly, I really was with, I feel like, a really great group of talented people. And I was like, I can kind of play guitar, I can kind of sing, but I'm really great at tap dancing. And so that was like my full focus. I did help write songs, but I would, other people would play those parts when we play live. So I would just kind of write the skeleton of a song and then pass it off to the rest of the band. And then always just really focus on percussion as like something that was something I really felt that I enjoyed, that I could do really well. So kind of started there and just kind of organically grew. And what's fun about Tilly is that no one ever told me no. No one ever told me that's crazy. They just said, go for it. It's amazing. Keep do more of it. And so I really felt the freedom to go and do all those things and felt really supported. So that's kind of how it started.
Can you say a little bit about the places that were important to your music?
Sure.
Venues, music stores, places that were important to you as an individual that shaped your music.
Sure. Places that were important to me as a musician. Here in Omaha, the Antiquarium, which was in the Old Market. I just spent so much time there, and yeah, I just really found friends down there, which is where I met a lot of the friends that kind of I started playing in bands with. And of course, I did talk about the Cog Factory. That was like where I just saw so many great bands and where I actually was able to go up and play. And for me, that was just like really life-changing, that I felt like I survived playing a show. And the more you do it, you know, it's just like anything, the better you get at it, the more you do it. We just had a lot of fun. One of our most fun shows we had was 4 or 5 years ago. We hadn't toured in a long time. We had a record that we wanted to tour on, and we came back to Omaha and played Slow Down and just had so much fun. It was just all of our people, I felt like, were really just had always kind of supported us all those years, and we're able to play a really fun show at Slow Down. So lots of great places. And, you know, for us, it was always a dream of mine. Like, we got to play Radio City Music Hall in New York. We were able to play Iceland, which was somewhere I always wanted to go, and I would have probably never been able to go unless it was with the band. So things like that, like just some cities that I didn't think I'd ever see in my life, that I did get to go and perform there. And then we kind of got smart as we toured, and we'd always book days off on our tours if we were in a new city, so we could actually go see the city and have fun in the city as well as play. So, but in Omaha, yeah, lots of special places. I worked at Pickles forever, so that's kind of when I also started like my love of music. I worked with some really fun people and just listened to records all day, and then we'd just go home and listen to records, and just really kind of found like all those great classic artists and great new artists coming out. So
I have one more question.
Sure.
To you, what does indie rock music mean?
To me, it just means, I don't know, it's kind of that's an interesting question. What does indie rock music mean? So, like, of course, the like common term is just independent music, which is really talks about more small bands on small labels. But I do think it's a genre of more like pop bands in the independent music scene. But I guess it does I think now it kind of covers a lot more ground. I think when we were starting out, it was more of a pop independent genre. But I think the term is growing, which is great. And I think what's great about things like with internet and like all these tools, there's so many resources for people to find musicians and find like something that really speaks to them, whatever genre that is. So I think in a way, like, the internet has caused a lot of problems for the music industry, but has also opened up so many doors for up and coming bands. And also for just someone that lives in the suburbs that maybe doesn't have a lot of friends, they can like find all these amazing people and all this great music online. So I took a bit of a turn on that question, but.
And any of you guys have any other question you want to add, like from what you were listening to?
Who are some of the women musicians from Lincoln and Omaha or elsewhere that you looked up to when you were first starting out, and that you really look up to now?
Oh my gosh, so many great musicians. I really love the band Outlaw Con Bandana, and they have like a really amazing musician. I love Jenny Lewis, of course, and she really kind of took us under her wing when we were first starting out. We opened up for her. Oh my gosh, and her band at the time, Rilo Kiley. We opened up for them so many times. I mean, I can't even count how many times we opened up for them, but like, she really took us under her wing and just taught us things like backstage etiquette, things that we just had no idea, because we'd always toured with our really close friends. So we toured with Bright Eyes, and Bright Eyes, of course, you know, Connor Oberst was wonderful, but Jenny, they both really were like, we were so used to touring with our friends that we just go backstage and like eat all the food, drink all the drinks, and then that's not normally what you should do if you're on tour. So she just was great and just really kind of taught us the ropes as being a touring musician and being a smart businesswoman. But yeah, just so many talented people. But really, those were a lot of people I looked up to. And then also Kiana, who became part of our band, she was doing open mic nights and just doing her own thing, and that really inspired me. And I was like, she's got this amazing voice. She just doesn't care. She's just going to go play open mic nights because she loves to do it. And that really inspired me. And then I kind of, somehow we worked it out that she joined our band, and it was a great, like, magical fit. So